And the moment you become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, and no time, you're getting beyond your body, your environment, and time, and that is the eye of the needle. That is the door to the quantum field. That's leaving the familiar and the known, and we call that getting beyond yourself. And the moment you become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, and no time, there's a massive amount of reorganization that takes place in the brain. Why? Because if you're not thinking about that person over and over again, you're no longer activating those circuits in your brain. Come on, you with me? If you're not thinking about your cell phone, your addiction, if you're no longer thinking about it, would you agree then you're no longer activating all those circuits you use for it? Yes or no? And if you're no longer activating those circuits, they're going to say, oh my God, how are you? I haven't met you because I've been too busy being run by the controller who's completely out of order. And all of a sudden, different compartments of the brain, different modules of the brain that were once divided start communing. Larger communities begin to form to larger communities, and there's kind of a synchronization that takes place in the brain. And what syncs in the brain, links in the brain. And the brain all of a sudden starts functioning in a more holistic state. And the exchange of information, because of the coherence in the brain, is causing a more unified level of consciousness. And we can walk around when a person's getting a brain scan and we can look at them and tears of joy are just running down their face. They feel so whole that it's impossible to want in that moment. How can you want when you're whole? And they're getting closer to source. They're getting closer to pure love. They're getting closer to the divine. Come on, are you with me? And when that heart begins to blossom and begins to bloom and the person practices continuously relaxing into their heart, the more they relax into their heart, like a springboard, a wave of energy is driven to the brain. The brain goes into alpha brainwave patterns, a very creative, imaginary state. The more you relax into your heart, the more that energy is driven to the brain. And all of a sudden, you see the parasympathetic nervous system dropping down, and here comes the sympathetic nervous system, and that's the arouser. But the arousal isn't pain in survival. The arousal isn't fear in survival. The arousal isn't aggression or anger in survival. The arousal is ecstasy. The arousal is bliss. And waves in the brain begin to stack on top of each other. And all of a sudden, you see very low frequencies begin to create harmonics on higher frequency and higher frequencies and higher frequencies. And the brain starts becoming very resonant. There are waves upon waves, and it feels really good. So good that you don't want the moment to end. And we've experimented with people in our community, staff, people running around with chasing their kids on the break and come back in, they're all disorderly. 15 minutes. 15 minutes they can get relaxed in their heart and awaken the brain and align those two systems, synchronizing their heart into their brain. We tap them on the shoulder after 15 minutes. We're like, it's done. They're like, what? What did you just do? Don't touch me. I was just getting there. They wanted to keep going. You want that moment to last when you start doing this really well. That coherence and order. Come on, you listening? So check this out. Living in stress is living in survival. Yes or no? A threat or a danger, some unpredictable experience, something that's causing you to not be in the known, a loss of control, the perception that things are getting worse in your life. Here comes the sympathetic arousal system. It's switching on and it's saying, pay attention, get alert. There's a threat, there's a danger, there's an emergency, and it causes us to narrow our focus on the cause. The very hormones of stress heighten the senses, and we become materialists and we focus on the cause. And that kind of narrow focus is an emergency state. How many people have been stressed and have been over-focused on something? The hormones of stress cause you to over-focus, to narrow your focus on whatever the cause is. You with me? And so then, the arousal is drawing from that field, and body is taking resources and it's turning it into chemistry. And for the short term, it's cool. All organisms can deal with a short-term stress. It's survival, but when they outlive the stress, they can return back to balance and homeostasis. Because when we have the threat and the danger, the body moves out of balance. It moves out of order. And all the resources are going into emergency to survive. And the intention is to stay alive. And if you're being chased by T-Rex, are you going to go 60% in, 70% in? You're going to go 80%? You're going to go all in. You're going to go all in. So the energy that it takes to outrun T-Rex is enormous, yes? And when you're living in stress and you're living in survival, guess where 3 of the things you put all your attention on? Take a guess. If you're being chased by T-Rex, you better put some attention on your body. Yes or no? Come on, if you're being chased by T-Rex, you better be looking in your environment about where you're going to go and how fast you're going to get there. So then when we live in stress and we live in survival, our attention is on our body, it's on our environment, and it's on time. And if the change is to be greater than your body, to be greater than your environment, be greater than time, it means then when we're living in stress and we're living in survival, it's really hard to change. Because it's not a time to change. It's time to run, fight, or hide. Come on, is this making sense? And so then the rush created by that arousal is highly addictive. And people use the problems and conditions in their life to reaffirm their addiction to that emotion. They need the bad job, they need the bad relationship, they need the news, they need the feed, whatever it is, to allow them to feel. Come on, you with me? And they become addicted to the life they don't even like. And that's why it's so hard to change, because breaking an addiction, there's withdrawals, there's overdoses, there's bad trips, there's indulgences. And to break the addiction is to stop the body being the mind of that emotion. And because of the size of the human neocortex, we can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. As we begin to think of some worst case scenario that could happen in our life based on our memory of something that happens in the past, we take that thought of that future and we begin to emotionally embrace that future as if it was happening when? Now. And it's that thought and that feeling, it's that image, that emotion, it's that stimulus and response that's conditioning the body to become the mind of that emotion. Come on, are you with me? And we can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. That means we can become addicted to our own thoughts. Come on, are you with me? And it's a scientific fact that the long-term effects of the hormones of stress downregulate genes and create disease. And if you can turn on the stress response just by thought alone, your thoughts could make you sick. And if your thoughts could make you sick, is it possible that your thoughts can make you well?